Mir was a national station, but international cooperation was a big part of space exploration together already on Mir. So when we are talking about national stations, it doesn't mean that we are not going to do international cooperation on it. Probably a type of cooperation could be a little different, but again, we have good experience of flying together on national stations, on international stations. We have experience of doing experiment together or do separate programs even on the same station like ISS. Sometimes some experiments, some activities are done in coordination but independently by every country. So I think what is going to happen in future that Russian space station, which is now in design phase and production phase, would replace Russian segment of International Space Station for Russian program. But my guess and I'm sure actually that it's going to be international in the way that we would continue joint flights. We are going to do joint experiments. And I think even if we have several stations, and that's what probably will happen in nearest futures, in nearest future, we would be able, we are going to build the program in such a way that we would be able to cooperate. And cooperation can be in many different ways. One of these is joint flights, what we did on Mir and what we are doing actually right now, doing what we called перекрестные полеты. The way we are going to build this station is start building it on the base of International Space Station, on base of Russian segment. And this is actually was scenario we discussed when we transfer from Mir station to ISS, suggesting that maybe Mir can be some kind of basement for developing of new stations. So that's what we are going to do right now. We are going to dock modules of new station to ISS and then undock when time comes. And I guess it may happen also with the same with American segment, because they are discussing to have at least some modules dock with ISS first, and then when they going to be checked out and ready to fly independently, then they can undock and fly independently.
We have been working very closely with Roscosmos. As you may know, we host the Space Debris Monitoring Complex, and that on its own just open up a number of opportunities for young South Africans to build human capital in the area of space sciences. And we should always remember, with all these ambitions, that the research and development is so critical. And therefore we see ourselves playing that huge role, but also inspiring young Africans, not just South Africans. And therefore we are seeing this as South Africa as a huge opportunity that will also ensure that we do see our presence and playing a significant role in providing leadership, not just in South Africa, but in the African continent, as well as bringing in the global South to contribute. As we know, the space economy is growing quite significantly. And of course, our signing with ILRS has given us an opportunity to further engage with Roscosmos on what our role will be in the future ROS and human flight in terms of cosmonaut training. But we're also seeing ourselves in 2028 in partnership with the Chinese National Space Agency, our presence at the moon with the experiment that we'll be putting there.
The cosmonauts training has been happening in Russia, and we really, the GCTC, and we really thank our Russian partners for doing so. And we could, historically, when we look back 40 years back, we could get an opportunity of flying the Indian astronaut in to Soyuz, and station and Russian space station, and recently, in the last year, we had the opportunity of flying the trained astronaut again in the recent generation to fly in the Axiom 4 mission. So the participation of India in the global space stations, whether it is Russian space station or the International Space Station, we are there with the rest of the world. We are looking for a lot of good cooperation with the Russian friends to have common subsystems for control, for powering, for communication, for tracking, and certainly, as you initially mentioned in the beginning, space doesn't have any border, either political or physical. With the rich experience of Russian colleagues, we would like to partner with them in the development of the Indian space station, what we call it as BAS. In fact, we are looking for a partnership. We are looking for cooperation with various agencies of different spacefaring nations across the world in building our space station.
Несмотря на то, что эти станции будут национальными, они все равно будут проводить международные исследования. И Казахстан хочет принимать участие в этих новых проектах, конечно, в той мере, которой мы можем. Если говорить про Байтерек, это действительно очень такой проект, который, вы правильно сказали, очень долго он реализовывается. Он несколько этапов прошел. Где-то было, мы даже думали, какой-то момент там, возможно, приостановка проекта была, разные случаи были. Но этот проект, это как наше отношение, которое мы доверие все усиливалось с Российской Федерацией, потому что такой проект глобальный делать, где две страны, там, синхронизация финансирования, синхронизация специалистов, компетенции, это все про доверие. И этот проект находится на завершающей стадии. Первый летный пуск мы ожидаем в ближайшие дни. И мы надеемся, что через несколько дней мы все хорошие новости услышим.
Стратегическое партнерство с Российской Федерацией позволило нам реализовать свое амбициозное желание иметь проект в области пилотируемой космонавтики. У нас не было ни опыта, у нас не было и теперь нет технических возможностей, но благодаря российской стороне все это было предоставлено в плане техническом.
We started, for example, such already discussions with Chinese colleagues in the frame of working group, dedicated working group, to have some joint experiments which are repeated on both stations so we can compare the results and to see maybe send some signal from one station to another.
We will see at least 4 actors in the US. Axiom Space is preparing their Axiom station. Blue Origin and Sierra Space, the orbital reef as they call it. Voyager, in cooperation with Airbus, actually is working on Starlab, and VAST is preparing Heaven 1. So it will be curious to see which of these 4 will be first and whether all the 4 will really appear. China, the third actor, will continue, of course, the operation of the Tiangong station. It remains to see what comes afterwards. And then, of course, very interesting, India joining now, also or intending to join, planning to join the human spaceflight community with its Gaganyaan program, and of course the Indian space station that is planned to be hopefully hear more about this, operational in 2035. The moon is in the focus. I mean, as we speak, as I said, Artemis 2 is just around the moon, soon on the way back to Earth. China is also very pushy in putting the first human Chinese on the surface of the moon. The US has announced to be the first on the moon, so there is a real competition specifically between the US and China. I'm really curious to learn from every single of you who will be the first, US or China. Let's start with Mr. Petrukovic. That's a dangerous question, I know, but...
China.
Mr. Pucha.
будет то государство, у которого получится реальный положительный результат в этом.
The mankind will be the first.
Mankind.
Yes.
Very good answer.
Я бы тоже сказал бы человек.
Ну, я соглашусь, человечество в целом будет на Луне, а кто, какая из наций будет, я не знаю.
Mr. Buddha?
I concur with the panelists. Thank you.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download Metro TV Extend sekarang.